For about a year, whenever anyone has asked me who I think will win the World Cup, I've given the same cop-out answer. I think Rugby will be the true winner. And on Sunday, Rugby ran away with a game that was, by any other metric, incredibly tight. There's a peculiar quirk to being a fan of one particular team, and that's on days such as Sunday, it overloads and out-prioritises any obligation to support itself. Sure, I'm a Rugby fan first, but from a Wales perspective, did we really need this game to be such a closely fought spectacle of wonderful rugby? Sunday was everything worth loving about the sport, tight, intense, full of great, thrilling attacking rugby, and yet still high calibre defence and drama. It was a game, frankly, far too good, and one that almost gave me a heart attack and cost me my voice pretty much entirely. Despite how much I spent on a flight and tickets, I would have been quite happy if the referee blew full time after Dan Biggar's 36th second drop goal. Wales only dropped one goal in the entire 4-year World Cup cycle since 2015 leading into this tournament, but it's very clear this was always part of Warren Gatland's plan. So, Wales fire the kickoff right into the arms of Michael Hooper. Hooper is then forced to take it himself, and this takes Australia's most effective breakdown operator out of the game right away, with Pocock stranded on the other side of the pitch. Most teams then send a winger in to chase the kickoff as their quickest player, but Wales instead send 3 of their most ferocious counter-ruckers in Aaron Wainwright, Alan Wynne-Jones and Ken Owens. Wales know the only Australian forwards in the vicinity are in front of Hooper and hence have to run right around to re-enter through the gate, buying a second or so to get some big Welsh blokes into position. Owens and God don't have any thoughts of going into pilfer, they just drive straight over the top as Australia is still arriving, making the Australian body positions too high. This allows Wainwright to make his second impressive contribution of the game after just 13 seconds and steal the ball. Wales then don't mess around 2 phases to set it up, and it's back into the pocket. Only one other player has ever nailed a drop goal inside the first 40 seconds of a test match before, so of course Australia aren't expecting it, giving Biggar a perfect opportunity to slot it, hassle-free, and put Wales ahead, an advantage they never relinquished. And their second drop goal, this time through Rhys Patchell, came from a 30+ metre break, nicely worked down the short side. Wales then tried to play it wide to see if anything's on, whilst the Wallabies defence is still aligning. Josh Adams finds nothing on his little dart, so they just work it back in the middle to claim the free. Last week, after the game against Georgia, I highlighted the fact the more phases Wales play through, the less they look like scoring, and Gatland seems very aware of this. So the moment the phase clock hits 5, we see Patchell slot back into the pocket and scream at his forwards for a few more drives whilst he sets himself. Then, once he's ready, Wales to take the drop goal and take the 3 points. This is all about a side who know their own limitations. It's very easy for a coach to play to their strengths, but to build an attacking, point-scoring game plan based on your side's weaknesses, I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly in love with it. Australia, however, could only play for their strengths, and in passages this worked extremely well. From the ground, I thought I noticed a genius attacking pass from Australia that was tearing Wales apart, and the supposed best defence in the world was crumbling, and I was concerned. I thought, if this is the kind of assault that can be masterminded by Michael Cheika, who's basically the human equivalent of when you put too much water in a kettle, then what would happen when Wales come up against a rugby coach with the intelligence to not give Ned Hannigan 19 caps? However, on rewatching the game a further couple of times, it's become clear this was not Cheika designing a game plan to beat the Welsh system. It was just him trying to emulate the rugby Australia have played when they're at the best the last 4 years. There was nothing here that was new, nothing designed to catch Wales out. Cheika even admitted post-game that he hadn't watched any of the Six Nations. Australia had focused solely on themselves. They also seemingly had no interest in being clinical. Australia created a lot and they did outscore Wales on tries, but they blew chance after chance. For all the talk of Samu Kerevi's ability to bust the line, once he gets through, the man has absolutely no idea what to do. Yes, he makes a bit of ground here, but if he just straightened up and drew his man, he could have created a try. So much of Australia's attack is built on quick ball, on just firing the thing away as quickly as possible, turning an organised defensive line into a constant scramble. Wales do scramble well, but even though Michael Cheika wouldn't know this because he didn't bloody watch it, they won a Six Nations based on organised defence. So Australia actually, by accident, approached the game with the best possible strategy, trying to strip Wales' defence back to being 15 individuals rather than one impenetrable wall. I think the best example of this comes in the lead up to the Wallabies' second try, scored by the man with a name like a Republican wedding cake designer, Dane Haylett-Petty. So, after Matt Tamua impressively makes this break, then equally impressively blows it, Wales scramble brilliantly. Australia are right on the try line and it takes a phenomenal tackle by Ball to block them getting over. Then, after a carry by Corey Abiti, Wales commit both Navidi and Tipuric to the breakdown, with Alun Jones having, of course, made the tackle and Wainwright set in position as the guard on the ruck. This ties their 4 best breakdown operators into one phase of play, and the good thing is, it works. They slow the ball right down. Australia lose momentum in their attack. The entire Welsh line is set, ready, marked up. Most teams would just drive a few phases to try and make that final inch with their forwards, and Australia are ready for it. They'll stop this. So instead, Genia fires it out to the backs. Karevi crashes it up, and once again is brought down by Alun Jones, who is a second row. He's a second row covering this kind of ground to make 2 consecutive tackles, 2 of the 25 he made on Sunday. However, that's beside the point. Tipuric and Navidi have only just got back up to their feet, and Wainwright is still working across. Wales blew their entire load on slowing down the previous phase, the one on the line, and this allows Australia very quick ball, which Genia just fires out. Pocock offloads, and Haylett-Petty dives over for a try. Whilst Wales were right to consider this ruck the biggest threat they'd face, it wasn't the only one, but they treated it like it was. It's a bit like Wales were too busy trying to tranquilise a T-Rex that they couldn't stop the Velociraptor from getting loose. However, Wales did have one other fun way to counter the quick ball, which led to the second try just before half-time through the world's most talented sieve, Gareth Davies. Back in 2018, Gareth Davies scored this try against Scotland in the Six Nations. His role in the Welsh defence normally is to shoot up and put off an attack to really hurl himself at the opposition, shut them down. Against Scotland last year, Gatland adapted this slightly into an idea that would really hit Scotland's desire to play at pace. And knowing Australia would come with a similar strategy based around quick ball, he just pulled the tactic out of his back pocket. There were maybe 4 or 5 instances throughout the game which Davies was shooting up and going for an intercept, which shows it's a tactic, not happenstance. So, as I previously discussed, Australia thrive off quick ball. Pretty much their entire deal is living off it. So, if you look at any game they play, this is a common pattern. They'll set up a couple of runners here, away from the thicker defence on the fringes, but still close enough that Genia can get there really fast. These forwards' job isn't really to go forwards. It's just to get to ground and recycle the ball quickly so Australia can work on attacking the next phase. With the previous phase being slow, Australia fall back on their usual means of getting go forward. Rodder here is supposed to be a dummy option, someone who could realistically carry, to put doubt into the defence's mind over where this is going, but he stood way too deep for Genia, given his body position to feasibly be able to pass to him. So Davies knows what Australia are doing before the ball comes out, and once Genia shapes the pass, he knows where it's going to. Davies is almost an extra defender. The main line still operates around him. There's no issue if he misses this intercept. It's covered. But, as it is, he doesn't miss it, and he sprints in from his own half for a try that should have put Wales in complete control of the game. Because Australia then had a decision to make. They can either adapt, act less eager to generate quick ball, which is what Gatland was likely hoping they would do in seeing the intercepts given, or they could just accept the risk this might happen again and continue to play their way. And being several scores down at half-time, Cheika and Genia just keep it going. Despite a few scares, it kind of works, and they get back from 5 through this score by Michael Hooper, just making the most of Alun going to block him grounding it against the base of the post, which is smart, but God forgets omnipotence doesn't work both ways, and therefore his teammates can't read what he's thinking, which opens up a gap for Hooper to squeeze over. And whilst they perhaps couldn't keep Hooper out here, Wales were well aware of what threat he posed over the ball, and worked very hard to keep him and Pocock out of the game. Now, somewhere in the last 2 years, Josh Navidi has developed a very peculiar niche by becoming perhaps the best player in the world at cancelling out opposition back rowers. The best example was probably his demolition job on Billy Vanapola in the Six Nations, man-marking him and keeping him to his lowest run meter stat in as many games as I bothered to go back through, considering how many other bloody rugby matches I've got to go through and research for. And on Sunday, he just smashed Hoop Boy and Cock Boy him out of the game. For me, this was the best example. Navidi spots Poey some way off and steps in to get his hands all over him just as quickly as any of us would, if we were honest. Like, look at him. Look, come on, look at him. But just watch, Navidi has begun blocking Pocock, taking him out before the ball's even on the ground, before the tackle's even there. He's cleared him out before he can ever be a threat. Even if Navidi's unavailable, look at the way Tom Francis here shoots in to clear him out the moment he clocks Pocock's going in. Wales have conceded the fewest tournaments of any team in the World Cup so far, and it's largely because of clever little tricks like this and being willing to sacrifice one man such as Navidi in order to take out 2 from the opposition, which then allows Justin Tipuric and Aaron Wainwright to be outstanding at playing their own games. With Australia in the ascendancy, they do begin to do things that were objectively smart, but in context actually kind of dim. Take a look at this kick by Matt Tamua. In past years, pinning Wales back into their own 22 with minutes to play and a 1-score lead would have been a great idea, because Wales were a team prone to giving away chances in the last minute. However, this Welsh side have improved and developed a real winning mentality. A few years ago, I firmly believe Wales would have lost this game, but this side is different, and managed to not only scramble this turnover through Liam Williams and save some 30 metres thanks to Thomas Williams putting in what is, for me as a Wales fan, the single most homoerotic display of volleyball skill I've seen since Top Gun. But Wales played the whole final quarter extremely smartly. They took their only shot at points when it came on offer, they ran the clock down where they could, and they then got an Owen Watkins special as he did exactly what he does better than anyone else and ripped the ball right out of the hands of Sami Gurevi. However, I'd also urge people to look at how Wales responded to being pinned back by Tamil with 2 minutes to go. Upon receiving the ball, Wales worked calmly into position to clear, and then watch what Patchell does with the kick. The common logic here would be just bang it into touch and slow the game, but Wales back their fitness. They know they can afford to keep it in field if needs be, so Patchell makes a judgment call on the moment. Dane Hillett-Petty is stood off the side of the pitch, which allowed DHP to do a DHL and deliver the ball into the middle of the pitch before the Welsh line is set, giving the Wallabies pace coming onto the ball and momentum and time to work out where Wales are weakest. Instead, Prince Patch keeps it in field and wellies it in between DHP and the always DTF Kurtley Beale, meaning the two have a moment of wondering who's going to take it, and whilst DHP eventually takes responsibility, it isn't with DFS comfort. He has to sprint backwards to catch it, which takes a half second of momentum out of the attack. This also puts Beale in front of him, who has had his reminder that forward passes aren't allowed this sesh, so knows to get back behind. Australia are suddenly attacking from neutral gear, rather than with the momentum a more standard issue kick for touch would have given them. It's a matter of metres, maybe inches from Patchell, but it's on such margins that Test matches and, indeed, World Cups are decided. It could be that this kick, swaying a few metres further in field than Hillett-Petty was expecting, could be the margin that granted either Wales or Australia a more possible path to a potential final. Because though I was out of my seat trying to scream with what I had left inside my throat, my voice box having been ripped to shreds, and my heart just at the point of shuddering blockage by the tense 80 I'd had to sit through, very few of the Welsh players were showing such jubilation, because to them, this is not job done. In past years, past Wales sides would have lost their mind at such a win. For these guys, however, this is task 2 of 7. I'm not going to predict anything about how the rest of the World Cup's going to go, except after the sheer stress of Sunday, I will say this. If Wales do make a final, I don't know if I could take Rugby being the true winner as well. Hello, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you thought that was good. I am in the fan zone in Kobe. You can tell because, there's a dock there. There's the Kobe Tower right over there. And there's loads more Kobe things around. Just watched Japan beat Samoa. That big bonus point win over there. Place erupted. There's about 2,000 people here. It was amazing. It was a great place to watch that particular game and the previous games this day as well. I am trying to get through as many of the said games as possible. Trying to cover as many of them as I can. So yeah, that was Wales Australia. That was one. There'll be a roundup coming hopefully tomorrow, hopefully as soon as possible, and I'll flick through some more roundups as well as carrying on with the big games, as well as trying to cover them in detail. Part of the problem is I keep writing really long scripts for these videos, which become a nightmare to edit. So I'm going to just try and get through them and work through them and clear this backlog that I am building. I'm trying my best. You do have to recognise it's basically just one person working on these, but thank you very much. I'm going to keep up with the rugby. Yeah, rugby.